Oh, look at the little Sheilas over there. Oh, look at them all playing. Ain't they beauts? This is my top 5 favourite bosses in Afterbirth. Oh.
Coming in at number 5, we have Monstro. Monstro is most likely the first boss you will ever fight in the game, and one of the most common bosses you fight in the game. I love him, her, it, because he's the only boss you hope to fight. His attacks are very predictable and easily telegraphed, the perfect beginner boss that seems much larger than life. The first time you come across a giant bouncing head named Monstro, you think, this will be an epic fight. In reality, it's not that hard of a fight. You feel a small sense of accomplishment knowing you beat your first real struggle in the game. Then you head on down to the next floor, and you encounter... Number 4, the spectral spectacle from beyond the grave. The Haunt. Why is the Haunt on this list? Well, when Rebirth first came out, he was the first true show that the game put on his big boy pants. Assuming Isaac wears pants. The Haunt is the first boss you encounter that really ramps the difficulty factor up, be it noobs or vets. If you are unprepared, this fight is a battle of attrition, slowly wiping out the Hauntlings he sends at you, before jumping to the back wall and showing he means business. That's what I love about the Haunt. He's an early game example of Rebirth really ramping up the skill and difficulty level from the get-go. Most of my early runs were dictated by whether I encountered the Haunt on the first 2 floors. You can breathe a sigh of relief after getting through the boss fight of the Cellar 2, knowing if you do encounter him in the future, you will be ready. Dropping down to number 3, we have Wrath. I never really got to play the Bomberman games when I was a kid, so to my surprise I get to fight him in Afterbirth. Although technically a mini-boss, he is a fun fight, one of the few bosses that don't actively seek to attack you. Wrath is the first example where you get an enemy that actively runs away from you while throwing whatever he can at you, hoping you'll slip up and run straight into one of his tactically placed balls of explosion. The fact that he drops a bomb item most of the time after death just adds to his worth in my opinion. He may not be the most interesting or useful mini-boss, but he has character, and if that doesn't count for something, then I don't know what does. For number 2, you need to take the negative and go down. Down to Isaac's worst nightmares. Therein lies the Lamb. One of the most underrated bosses in my opinion, the Lamb suffers from being a victim of circumstance. When deciding which photo to take, most people take the Polaroid just because the chest is guaranteed 4 free items, granted you have the keys, and I'm guilty of this the same as everyone else. The Lamb is one of those bosses you just grind out to finish your post-it note. I feel bad for the Lamb, honestly. I haven't fought the Lamb in so long I actually forgot how the fight goes. It's not even a matter of difficulty over Blue Baby. And heck, you can even fight Mega Satan from both the Darkroom and chest, so it seems the lure of free items taints us all. Don't get me wrong, you get a chance to get 4 devil items landing in the Darkroom, but most people don't even want to take that chance. Why should you? If you can luck out and get Poly Godhead when you hit the chest, why bother with 4 chests that might just give you some hostile spiders? Cheer up, Lamb! Hopefully we'll get a better incentive to give you another chance in Afterbirth Plus. My favorite boss in Afterbirth could realistically only go to one boss. Mom's Heart or It Lives. The definitive boss of Afterbirth, Mom's Heart is the second end boss you fight, the first being Mom herself. After defeating Mom's Heart 11 times, you unlock It Lives and get to fight a horrifying anthropomorphic version of your mother's own heart. A terrifying story when you think about the story of Isaac. A young boy fleeing his mother, crawling lower and lower into the basement of his house, until eventually crawling into his own mother and destroying her heart. Horrific, really. It Lives in Afterbirth is a far cry from the original Isaac. Just go back and watch my first fight with it. I was actually scared fighting it the first few times. It Lives became more of a bullet hell than anything else in the game as the true test of your run. Either you were equipped to fight It Lives, or this is where your run dies. Now obviously, if you're a vet of this game and have fought It Lives hundreds and hundreds of times, the fight loses a lot of its intensity and you just try to rush to the final phase, dodge the final Omni Shot. But you know, we were all noobs at one point. This was the fight in the game. It's my favorite boss, because It Lives defined Rebirth as not just a graphical enhancement from the original Isaac. Team Nicholas also seemed to take cues from It Lives in later boss fights like Hush and Ultra Greed. One of the best fights from Afterbirth, and yet so fleeting. Your mother toughens you up with enemies, then fights you to test your mettle. Once you prove yourself capable, you rush off to your next challenge, with Mom letting out one final cry before fading into your memories. Almost like real life. So that was it, guys. That was my top 5 favorite bosses in the Binding of Isaac Afterbirth. I do love this game. There's a lot of content to put out, and I do love making these videos. I want to make some more. If you like Isaac, if you like Afterbirth, if you like this video that you've seen, subscribe to my channel. I put out videos like this. I try to do it once a week, and I love this game. I check out a bunch more roguelites and all that good stuff. There was a bunch of honorable mentions I had, but I wanted to make a bigger list, but at the same time I felt 5 was enough. Here's a few honorable mentions that I also love. Monstro 2, Dingle, Mega Fatty, The Bloat, surprisingly, Duke of Flies, Mega Maw, some of the other Deadly Sins, all that stuff. But anyways, I'm rambling. Thanks so much for watching. I will put some outtakes right after this, so stay tuned for that. And as always, I appreciate your support. Bye-bye. His attacks are very predictable and easily telegraphed. The meh moo, I almost got it, but I didn't put. No, I almost threw the fuff. I was there. Why? Why? Number 4, the spectral spectacle from beyond the gate. The agave. What? Huh? He may not be the most interesting or useful mini, but really, there's a truck going by. You hear that? There's a truck going by. He may not be the most interesting or useful mini-boss, but he has character, and if that doesn't count for something, then I don't know what does. Oh. Lamb. One of the most underrated bosses in my opinion. The Lamb suffers from a victim of victim. A victim of victim. He's a victim that's a victim of a victim. Why can't I? I think I'm a victim here. After defeating Mom's Heart 11 times, you unlock It Lives. It gets to fight a horrifying. Get to fight a horrifying anthropomorphic warrior. I'm never going to get this. I'm going to end right here. My life is going to go on. Recording this forever. Constantly. Oh man. This has looped a few times.